and then silence. There has been no further on the record discussion from Rich Paul, no on the record comments from LeBron James, even though he was just in China. He didn't have any quotes while he was there that really addressed it. And so he, for the first time in his career, is heading into a season where he does not have a player option or a contract for the next year. He has never been in a position like this. He is not eligible to extend his contract, and he has a no trade clause. So very likely will be headed towards unrestricted free agency. Now, he has certainly been an unrestricted free agent a whole number of times in his career, but has never been in a situation where his team is not invested in him and has chosen not to invest in him past this year. Rich Paul, I think I should just say he told me that they didn't have material conversations with the Lakers about a new contract. That can be a statement that can be taken a bunch of different ways. Maybe they knew what they were going to get. Maybe they expected the Lakers to offer, but it wasn't like LeBron asked for a new deal and the Lakers said no, and the Lakers, according to Rich, didn't come to them and say, here's a new 2-year or 3-year contract. So that's sort of the backstory of their offseason, which is there's a lot there, Bontemps. To me, I'm more interested because I know LeBron's going to be a Laker at the end of the month because he has a no trade clause. I know Luka is invested in being a Laker. I know they have these new players. We talked the entire season last year about how they needed perimeter defense. They lost Dorian Finney-Smith and added LaRavia and Marcus Smart. On the court, with what the team that they're going to have on opening night, do you think the Lakers have materially improved on their 50-win team that was in the middle of the number 3 to number 6 seed morass last year?
I mean, maybe. I would say the biggest argument that they've improved, and McMahon has talked about this, is that the expectation is you're going to get a better version of Luka than last year. I think you could also make an argument you won't get as good of a version of LeBron as last year just because he is the oldest player in the league, and while he has defied Father Time in a way basically nobody ever has, there is at least some possibility he will regress. And then a lot of these other guys are question marks. Like, Marcus Smart has basically not done anything for 2 years. If Marcus Smart from the 2022 NBA Finals shows up, that's an improvement for the Lakers. If the Marcus Smart who was not very effective for Memphis or Washington shows up, I don't think that's going to make a significant difference for them. DeAndre Ayton is probably the best option that they could have gotten realistically in free agency at center. But again, we're damning with faint praise there. Like, DeAndre Ayton is also not, I would say, some massive difference-making player. No, maybe he'll get with LeBron James and Luka Doncic like he was the year when they went to the finals with Chris Paul in Phoenix and have a great year. I wouldn't rule that out. But I would say on the whole, the Lakers are probably a little better. I also think one thing that really hasn't been talked about a lot is basically this entire team is up for a contract this season and going into next summer.
Yeah, let me go through it right now. So LeBron, we already mentioned. Yep. Rui Hachimura is in the last year of a deal paying him $18.2 million. He's extension eligible. That could get extended. Austin Reeves makes $14 million this year. He has a player option for next year, which is widely expected him to not pick it up and become unrestricted. Gabe Vincent is in the last year of a deal paying him $11.5 million. Maxi Kleba is in the last year of a deal paying him $11 million. I mentioned Ayton got a 2-year deal, but the second year is a player option, so technically he can opt out and be a free agent. Marcus Smart signed a 2-year deal, but he has a player option. He can opt out and become a free agent. Jackson Hayes is up. He can be a free agent. All those guys.
You want the shorter way to do this? On the Lakers' whole roster, there are 4 players who have a guaranteed contract for next season. Luka Doncic, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, and Adu Thoreau, their second-round pick. Bronny James is partially guaranteed. Dalton Connect has a team option. Everybody else either has a player option or is an unrestricted free agent. Now, that could work out great, but that also could be a thing that causes a lot of issues, and you have a lot of guys trying to get paid and a lot of guys trying to be in the best situation they can going into next summer, right? So all that's to say that I think for the situation the Lakers were in, I think they did about as well as they could have. Obviously, getting Luka Doncic done is the only thing that really matters. That's a gigantic win for them to get him to sign for multiple years and to be there going forward. But there are a lot of questions, and I think it's going to be a very interesting test to see how JJ Redick handles things. Because, look, I would say he deserves a lot of credit for how they went through the season, and they, with some smoke and mirrors, I would say, had a pretty good defense for what they had. Then they got in the playoffs against the Wolves, and once they got stuck in a series against a team that could game plan for it, a lot of stuff on both sides of the ball didn't look so great. So it's going to be a very interesting season in LA.
But look, the fact that Luka has had a wake-up call and is taking conditioning seriously, is he going to maintain that commitment? We'll see. There have been a couple of times where he's taken it seriously and then that didn't keep it up, but he seems to have had a wake-up call. There seemed like he was more of a leader during Slovenia's Eurobasket than I've ever seen him be. He's a guy who's been a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection despite constant conditioning concerns and immaturity. If he's turned a corner on those two things, he's always going to yell at refs. I don't sweat that. But if he's turned a corner there and he's playing in the low 240s, high 230s, that's a drastically improved version.
Well, let me just stop you real quick.
MVP
he can yell at refs, but yelling at refs and not getting back on defense in the playoffs is a maturity.
Oh no, it's been a constant. I'm just saying, like, if he's going to maintain the weight stuff, he ain't ever going to be a perfect angel. But you're right. The rest stuff is serious, but he has shown more commitment and more maturation this summer than he has any other time during his career. And then look, DeAndre Ayton, he needs to turn a corner in the maturity realm as well. There's a lot of flaws there, but they were starting Jackson Hayes at center last season.
For sure.
Guys, like, he is a drastic upgrade. And I've said, I think DeAndre Ayton will either be a long-term piece or a short-term circus fire. I don't think there's a whole lot of in between. And the guy's talented. There's no question about his talent. Is he going to do all the things he needs to do to help the Lakers win? If he does, I could see him being Luka's, not his co-star, but his starting center for years to come.
I will say this. So Jake LaRavia is an interesting signing. They gave him $6 million. He's buddies with Austin Reeves. I couldn't tell you that I was super familiar with his game, but I've watched some packages of clips that some people have prepared, both people within the NBA community and people on the outside, YouTubers.
You went down a Jake LaRavia YouTube rabbit hole?
I did.
You were dedicated.
I did because I thought because I was going to because he signed with the Lakers. I had to talk about him in July. Okay, like, he defends. He can defend multiple positions.
I mean,
and he can and he was a type of guy who will pick up full court and. You can't play him on every point guard, and you can't play him on every point guard for 25 minutes. But he has some defensive versatility, which they were sorely lacking last year. I mean, you weren't letting Dorian Finney-Smith defend point guards coming up the floor.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to you imply that Jake LaRavia is a defensive upgrade over Dorian Finney-Smith.
No, I didn't say that. I said defensive versatility. You couldn't put Dorian Finney-Smith on opposing point guards.
What starting point guard in the Western Conference are you going to put Jake LaRavia?
I'm not sure Jake LaRavia's agent would say he could guard starting point guards.
I'm telling you, I was watching clips of him applying full court pressure to many different players, both in Memphis and in Sacramento.
Okay.
My biggest question about
I think Jake LaRavia is a nice player. I would not say he's an option to guard opposing point guards.
I'm curious, will he get a
not for 25 minutes, but he has some
25 seconds.
Correct. You beat me to it, Big Ben.
Will he get a tan living in Southern California? Because I tell you, he was glow in the dark in Memphis, man.
I think Jake LaRavia is a nice player. I just think this is an odd tack to be taking.
Just telling you, he has got when I did some research, I saw that he's got more defensive versatility than I knew that he had. And so the Lakers are in need of that. I'm not saying he's doing it for 30 minutes. I'm just telling you that explains some of the reason why they didn't have cap space to go out there and sign a bunch of guys.
Well, listen, Jake LaRavia at $6 million is a nice value swing, but I'm not going to. Maybe I'll end up saying, well, wow, Wendy, you were on that one. I don't see him move the needle defensively. I'm sorry.
I say he's got defensive versatility. He is also 6'8". He has size and defensive versatility. That's all that needs to be said about him. I'm not going to say anything more about him. I'm just saying I watched some film and I did not know that he was defending 1, 2, 3s, and 4s.
Are you telling us he has deceptive athleticism?
I did not say that. I just said he's 6'8", and I watched him defend 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, which they didn't have guys. They didn't have a lot of guys who could do that last year.
Please send me the clips of him guarding point guards. I got to see these.
They exist. What do you want me to say? So I'll point out something on LeBron. He played the last 2 seasons. He's played 71 in 70 games. He this last year averaged 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 51% overall from the field. The 3-point percentage was 37%, 38% if you round up, which was down from the year before. He did have a knee injury during the playoffs last year that knocked him out and slowed down his summer. So we'll see if that affected him at all. Those are still pretty strong numbers. There are definitely nights when his energy is higher than others. There are nights when he looks old, and there are nights when he looks like he can still completely take over a game. So he is going for his 22nd consecutive All-NBA team this year.
It's insane.
So he's made the All-NBA team. he has continued to make the All-NBA team regularly, despite slowing down.
And listen, I get saying that LeBron's production might dip this year. Like, it makes sense, but I'm not going to forecast that because the guy keeps defeating Father Time. I mean, he's not what he was in his, I guess, the peak of his prime, but he's still an All-NBA player. It's insane.
I can't speak to where he's at spiritually about wanting to play longer. What I can tell you is his play on the court is not indicating somebody who's near retirement. Now,
no, he's still one of the 10 or 15 best players in the league, easy.
He's got to want to do it. He's got to put his body through it, all of that stuff. I keep hearing people like, this might be the last year. Look, he's been linked to potentially playing in other leagues. I don't know, maybe. But if he stays healthy, I do not see LeBron James slowing down.
Yeah.
Maybe he's tired of doing it, but I do not see LeBron James slowing down that much.
Safe bet based off history.
And by the way,
LeBron's going to remain good has been a good bet for about 23 years.
And I'm still on that side of it. Jackson tells us that Luka, he